What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to GmiasWorld. And there have been a lot of you guys asking about, these major changes that EA Sports made with the ability points and, how is it going to affect the game going further? And a lot of you guys are very frustrated because, your quarterback now is going to eat up so much more of that ability point cap, right? So you're looking at it and you're like, all right, so what abilities can we now go with? And a lot of you guys are really struggling to kind of figure out what's going on. And you also are asking, what are the changes that we can make to kind of, adjust and still be able to get the proper reaction out of the team. So what I'm going to do is, based on the way that the game has changed, I'm going to just go ahead and show you guys pretty much what I've already been doing. And the reason why I set it up like this is because I knew that EA Sports would eventually listen to some of the, to some of the crybaby pros that is out there that's just raging about foolishness and not really focused on the fact that the game itself, gameplay-wise, is what the problem is. It's not the abilities. See, the abilities can be OP and you can deal with it if the game makes sense. But the game hasn't made sense since launch. And the abilities that work primarily for us, like the Escape Artist and Gunslinger, we shouldn't be penalized because that actually makes the game fun. You know what I'm saying? It makes no sense, and nobody is really looking at it the way that they should be looking at it. Like, you need certain abilities to enjoy this game. Why are people crying about the ability points of that and not the actual gameplay effect it has? The gameplay effect is ultimately what creates the disconnect with the average user to a regular person that comes in to play the game to a pro, because a regular person that has no idea what they're doing can give a pro a sweaty, which doesn't make sense because the gameplay doesn't make sense. But when an ability works in the game and it makes us want to play the game, the pros then cry about the ability working, although we're all playing a broken game. So nothing really makes sense, but EA's like, you know what? These guys are crying about the ability points. Let's just up it. You know what I'm saying? Let's just up it, because more than likely the people that up the ability points, they don't play the game anyway. So they're like, yo, whatever. They want to complain about it and cry. We'll just adjust it and then they'll deal with it. So when you look at the O-line, I haven't used O-line abilities in forever. I will say this though, the post-up is definitely OP as far as like stopping the blitz from coming in. That 2 post-up situation with the guards is still something that's very, very formidable. Just so that we're on the same page with that. All right. With everything else that's coming out of, O-line play and stuff like that, edge protect and all that, I understand the need for some of you guys to have that, but it's not a necessity. It doesn't really help you overall with your gameplay to make sure that it secures that a guy is not going to scream at you. Pretty much what happens is it may slow down some of the edge threats, but if you have any other ability other than edge threat, it literally does nothing. And it's stupid, but that's the truth. Edge Protector only works against edge threat in the OP, like, double or nothings and stuff like that. If you just have like an under pressure, it'll still get shedded the same exact way. So I just refuse to use O-line abilities. I go after high overall linemen, and then if I'm going to get sacked, I get sacked. I just deal with that, right? That's just what it all is. The tight end position, I still, even in the face of all this stupid AP, Gunslinger up, Escape Artist up, you gotta have this. You have to have, tight end apprentice, because it's so critical in making those, those hot routes. It's very, very critical. The problem now is once you increase the AP on the quarterback from 8 on average to 11, you're losing out on the other receiving core, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at what I, decided to do. Randy Moss is obviously a deep threat, so he gets deep out for 1. Calvin Johnson is a physical archetype, so he gets it for 2. Matchup Nightmare is going to light up, but what many of us discovered early is that it just lights up for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not something that's guaranteed to do anything. So I love Calvin being the guy that I want to Moss with, and Matchup Nightmare and all that stuff, because he gets it for 1 on a physical archetype, but it's just not, it doesn't really add a guaranteed catch. There's nothing about it where it's like you have to have it, and I had to give deep out to the player that can get it for less, because we just don't have the AP. It's nothing else we have, and because we have to have we have to actually utilize the tight end apprentice, it's very, very difficult to go otherwise. There's nothing else you can really do about it, because again, if you can't create a crosser, a post route, a corner route from the tight end position, because I'm running trips tight end right now out of the Patriots playbook, if you can't actually do that, then you pretty much open up yourself to a lot of hell. and it can get really, really bad for you, because once they realize, see, this is what happens, guys. People will click on, use the right trigger, and see the abilities that you have. And then once they see that you don't have a specific ability, they exploit it. So they'll bracket aside, knowing that you can't create a route that can beat what they have going on there. Now, you may have stock plays that have crossers and have stuff like that, but it's still not the same. They can always just kind of assess what play you're going to come out in and what you're going to do with that tight end position, which is why I believe it's so important and one of the most critical abilities in the game right now. So the only other thing that you can do, if you don't want to run it this way, is you can give no ability to Randy Moss, and then let Calvin do what he does. You know what I'm saying? Give Calvin deep out for 2. But again, it's up to you how you want to work it. I just think for with the way everything is set up with all the AP, you don't really have that much. It's not a lot of options to it, because like I was saying, we would have to find 2, and then it'll hurt us here. You know, we already took off backfield master, so if the guy doesn't catch the ball, he just doesn't catch it. We don't have a lot of options, and it's simply because we have the same pros that they need the game to be a certain way for themselves, and they know if they just cry long enough, it will eventually get the game patched. But what's going to happen is now they still have the MCS finals or whatever for the Madden Bowl. This is going to heavily affect them as well, and they're not going to be able to do a lot of the things that they like to do, and many of the plays that they run where they just throw it in the coverage on the wheel route, that player is going to drop the ball unless they figure out a way to keep backfield master on their running back. Because the game is designed for you to run around like an idiot. It's literally designed like that. So if you're not running around with escape artist, like I said, I just paid the extra amount. You know, it's like, yo, bro, whatever, because you can't really enjoy the game. And then the next thing is this, right? Oh, Gmia, why do you need Gunslinger? Why don't you just go for Pass Lead Elite? Because Pass Lead Elite is not Gunslinger. And Pass Lead Elite is going to get picked off. Gunslinger will get the ball there slightly faster to where the guy can't really pick it. Pass Lead Elite will get you picked off in a very critical situation. Don't worry, we tried it. We experimented with it. We tried to figure out, yo, can we run this? Is this something that makes sense? We looked into it for you guys and tried to figure it out. It literally will hurt you. The ball will not get to where it's supposed to get to with Pass Lead Elite versus Gunslinger. So I don't know why EA involved Gunslinger in it, because to my knowledge, the pros weren't really complaining about Gunslinger, but I think that they just said, you know what? They complained in the past about Gunslinger, so we'll just add it anyway. You know what I'm saying? They're like, you know what? We don't know what the hell we're doing, so, let's do this too. Bro, what? Everybody was like, yo, why is Gunslinger there? We've heard, the pros crying and the tears coming out about escape artists, but I didn't really see Gunslinger being a major issue. But now it is. So, that being the case, that's where we are right now. So this is the way that I'm utilizing what's going on with the changes, because I still believe that Gunslinger, Escape Artist, that's going to win you more games than not having it. So we have to sacrifice. And we'll give Randy Moss a deep out as a deep threat. We'll keep our tight end with the tight end apprentice, and then we'll leave it like that. And that's pretty much all that we can do right now at this time. There is literally nothing else we can do about this situation. We have to adapt, and that's what we'll do. I'm going to see you guys and girls next time. You have an unbelievable day. One love, y'all.